All right, man. How you doing, Jode?
Not bad. How are you doing?
It's another Monday from work. I have 8 Mondays a week, so it's whatever.
Oh man.
So we're gonna thanks for having me out, make some time for me tonight with this interview and everything, man. With your new project, Goat Silk.
Yeah.
Um, I I'm sure people have asked you, where did the name come from? Let me get that out of the way first and foremost.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a big common question for
Hmm.
sure. So I used to be a general manager for World Gym, and so I used to wake up and open the gym around 2 in the morning for all the bodybuilders. So we used to have like Mr. Olympia, Mrs. Olympia work out at my gym. And they like to come in early in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning. And so I was the guy who would open the gym, and while they're working out, there's nothing really for me to do until about 7 o'clock when the spin class came in. So lots of internet. And when I say this is the truth. There's only so much internet that you could do before you're like, okay, I'm going to start working out. But yeah, so one day, Mr. Olympia was in there and he was like, why don't you come out and work out with us? He's like, here, take this supplement. It was
Hmm.
called Black Ice. I'll remember this for my rest of my life. It was called Black Ice. I was like, all right, I got a couple things I got to do and I'll head out there and I'll work out with you guys. And I
Hmm.
was, scrolling the internet and I came up on an article about BioStill. And that's when they actually, what they did was, they converted these scientists in the military. Is what actually happened is the
Hmm.
military went and actually started splitting DNA from a goat and a spider. And what actually came out of the spider and the goats and stuff like that, obviously it came from the goat. When they started to produce its milk, it actually produced like a silk like structure. So yeah, so this structure, yeah, pretty gross. But the structure actually turns out to be 10 times stronger than Kevlar. So they use it in the military now for, vests and helmets. And they supposedly, quote unquote, killed off all the goat silks because, PETA and all this stuff
Hmm.
got into that. But yeah, that's what it was. I was scrolling the internet 2, 3 in the morning, ready to work out with Mr. Olympia. And I was, looking articles up, and sure enough, I just happened to, stumble upon BioStill, and that's actually the technical term for goat silk is BioStill.
Interesting. That
Yeah.
I try to learn something every day, and that was not something that was on my bingo card for this week.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever just, have some time, just go search in BioStill and even goat silk. If you even look up goat silk, you'll
Mhm.
find tons and tons of articles about
That's
how they were
interesting.
splitting the DNA and making armor for the military.
Gee.
Yeah.
And I don't know when you say PETA, I'm assuming not the PETA I know, people eating tasty animals, but
Yeah, those ones. Yeah.
all right, man. So I under we what I want to do is I want to focus on goat silk and your direction going forward with this because I want to hear all about it, what you guys have planned, what you got coming out. With that, let's start off with my first question was, what's a musical decision you made that scared you at first, but later felt like it was inevitable?
Well, I mean, Goat Silk has been a band for 13 years.
Okay.
We've been, pounding the pavement since 2012. We've had a
Hmm.
lot of headroom. We've done a lot of big things. A few years back, I was in the cycle of, new members and stuff like that. And I'm like the original member at this point, and there's just tons of new guys. And I decided to hang it up. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this is the time where this is retired.
Yeah.
um, and then me and my daughter, she's 13, and she used to tour with us all the time when she was little. But now
Hmm.
she's a teenager. She's in the metal. We started the last 2 years just pounding concerts, right?
Right.
Um, Going to concerts, and we actually land up going to see Venom Inc.
Mm.
And Benny Mean, those guys are old school, man. They're like in their
Mhm.
60s. And my daughter, she straight looks at me and says, Dad, if these guys can still do it, I know you can do it. I don't remember anything. I was a baby in a tour bus. Now I'm old enough I can experience and be with you.
Yeah.
So it was kind of scary to get this back up and moving. And
Hmm.
I spoke with Bundy. He was actually on tour with Embryonic Autopsy with Tim King, who plays in Soil. He's a part of like Pavement Entertainment and stuff like that. And
Oh, okay.
he was on tour with Nile, 6 Feet Under, playing bass for him. And we happened to go see him, and we started talking, and I was like, look, I got some really good opportunities for a reunion tour and stuff like that. There's been a lot of promoters hitting me up, and February last year we started to get the ball rolling, and it's probably been one of the scariest things musically I've ever done.
That's awesome, man. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's called your comfort zone for a reason, man. Nothing
Yeah.
nothing good happens in your comfort zone, dude. When you're stuck in a creative dead end, what do you do outside of creativity, out of the creative realm to kickstart those juices again?
Well, so a lot of Goat Silk's music is based around, personal experience, life experience, just everyday people type of stuff. This gets in a little touchy subject for sure. So last year, I went through pretty bad custody battle and for my daughter,
Mhm.
and spent a lot of money on that. And once COVID hit, that kind of did a lot for people. Kind of changed everything. And my daughter was online school for the last 4 years. She's been online school, and
Mhm.
that kind of messed up her social aspect of life.
Yeah.
And we're pretty outgoing people, and we like to go do things. And she was in a spot where she was depressed and sad, and she had no friends and stuff because she was online school. So this last year has been very pivotal for me, and Goat Silk music's always have been about my life struggles and the things
Mhm.
that I've gone through. But these last this last year, and the music that creating now, I step back and I focus on the things that I went through the last couple of years,
Mhm.
just fighting to be a great dad and be in her life and make sure that she's safe. And those are what make me creatively. I'm a general contractor by the day as well, and
Mhm.
I deal with a lot of people, and I see a lot of behaviors on people, and those combining things, with things, personal experiences with
Mhm.
my life, and then just dealing with people on a general day-to-day basis.
Mhm.
That really gets me creative, because I'm like, man, that guy was a dick today for no reason, and
Yeah.
that gets my juices flowing, and I write about it. If my daughter's having a bad day because she's back in public school now, and she's getting bullied or something like that, those things are life things for me that I write about, and those are my inspirations.
Yeah. That kind of leads into a question I had later down in here was, do you think that pain is a requirement for meaningful art, or is it just one of many fuels that we have available to us?
I don't think it's you know it fuels it. It definitely helps. Music for me has always been a way for me to let out, just my life, and
Mhm.
tell my story of just life in general.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's a pain thing. I think it helps. I think it's a beautiful thing. If anything, I think
Mhm.
it helps you create, and helps you be at your most vulnerable at every aspect of things.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. And has a song, or excuse me, has there ever been a song where the band wanted it to go one way, but the song itself refused and dragged you guys elsewhere?
What's really weird about Goat Silk is, when we first started this,
Mhm.
me and Bundy was 15 years old when he was in the band. He's a grown man now. He's in his 30s.
Yeah.
And he's always kind of been like that guy who's kind of teaching him how to play and how to write and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
he's always been one on one with me about how things go. So
Mhm.
I've actually been the one who's pretty much primarily wrote the lyrics, the guitars, the leads, the melodies. And he'd chime in and he puts his part in, like maybe changing bass lines and
Mhm.
maybe adding some screams and some vocal hooks and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But he has like a weird spot in the band. He helps create, but he's not the main focus at the same
Sure.
time. I mean, we have some songs where I don't even sing, and he's straight the only guy singing in that. He's like the lead singer of the
Mhm.
band plus the bass player. So it's kind of crazy, you know, on our creativity. I've been kind of stuck writing everything,
Mhm.
you know, especially with this new generation.
Mhm.
You know, all of my band members, we all live in different states. You know,
Mhm.
Marcus lives in Florida right now. I'm in Colorado. I'm in Denver. Bundy's actually in Pueblo, which is about 2 hours south for me.
Oh, okay.
And then Rich Brown, he's our other guitar player that we got this year, and he's out in Kentucky. So writing's pretty hard sometimes. So normally what happens is I'll come up with like a basic idea and
Mhm.
I'll send it to the guys. And
Mhm.
you know, a lot of the times they're like, man, it's solid that way. Just I'll just learn it.
Sure, sure. Um, what's been harder for you creatively speaking? Uh, refining something that's already proven and that works, or burning it down and starting fresh?
You know, with this new era of Goat Silk, it's been a real big reflection. When we pulled out Burn It to the Ground, I went out to
Mhm.
Kansas, to Derby, Kansas, and I recorded that with Chris Dawson and Jimmy Beatty, who were with Seasons After at the time.
Mhm.
You know, those guys are doing amazing things right now, and that was the turning point of the new generation of how this band was going to sound. You know, a lot more polished, a lot more, you know, people might hate this, a lot more commercial, a lot more sellable
Mhm.
to people. You know, we have a lot of heavy songs that are not even are put out there, and we've always focused on, you know, hate to say it, but radio friendly type rock and
Mhm.
metal, because that's what people wanted to hear, and not our screaming stuff. So that was the turning point for me of changing this band to what we are now. And Separate, it's you know, our newest single out right
Mhm.
now, and that song is 7 years old. That song has been sitting in the files for about 7 years completed,
Mhm.
and that we just never put it out, and we put it out just recently.
I've listened to that several times in prepping for tonight, and I really dig it. I can't pinpoint what it reminds me of. And that's the sad part is as humans, we notice things and we compare everything to everything else that we've seen or experienced. And it hits me like it takes me back to high school, and I'm gonna assume I'm a little bit older than you. I'm a little bit closer to 50 than I want to be. I'm
Me
not
too.
gonna lie about that.
That makes two of us.
And it's just I was listening to it and I hit it on repeat, and I'm just like I couldn't pin it to where I wanted it. I just can't figure out what it reminds me of. And then eventually I'm like, you know what? I don't have to remember it. Just
Yeah,
enjoy it and just dig it. And then I will say, out of everything I've heard of your guys' stuff so far, my absolute hands down favorite of your guys' so far is Bury Your Halo.
yeah,
That one, I don't know what it is. That
yep.
one slaps me in the feels, dude. I love the
It
video.
is
I love the
crazy
song.
because that was the first song that me and Bundy put together
Mhm.
uh, to launch the band's renewal. Like, this is, we're coming
Gotcha.
back out. That's why we went, you know, fulls out with the music video and stuff
Mhm.
like that, just to really get a punch. And that song has been unbelievable. Just the amount of praise that we're getting and
Oh,
on that. And that song is the meaning behind that song too, "Bury Your Halo," is you know, songs mean, you know, I try to have people, you know, want them to determine what the song means for them and not what
mhm.
I bet it be. But the song for me is, that was the period of time where I was going through, you know, my daughter um was in a state where she was suicidal. She was
Mhm.
cutting herself. I was fighting her mom,
Mhm.
you know, through custody and gaining stuff like that. And that song is about that period in time,
Yeah.
about, you know, you got to come down off your pedestal, you know, and
Yeah.
we need to come as one, and we need to uh you know, just be in general together, and not think one's higher than another person.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. That's well, hopefully your daughter is doing a lot better these days and
Yeah,
yep,
she's doing awesome, man. She's, you know, we got her into school
good.
this year. She has tons of friends. You know,
Awesome.
I mean, it's been amazing, and all of this is for her. You know, all this reunited Goat Silks
Great.
for her.
Very awesome, man. Uh, all right. So, what's the most honest reaction a fan has ever had to your music that stayed with you?
You know, I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and
Mhm.
I've been in a lot of different bands, but this one's been 13 years, and
Mhm.
um, I've had people personally come in, my DMs, I guess is what you want to call them, and my messengers. I still call them IMs, instant
Yeah.
messenger.
Yeah.
I'm AOL back in the day guy still.
Oh, trust me, I get it.
I have people who've come and just said that that the music has hit them a certain way,
Mhm.
and that without it they wouldn't have made it through the day sometimes, and I'm a huge, obviously, single father rights advocate, and a lot of single fathers come to me personally about advice and how
Mhm.
their music has helped them because they can relate to some of the things that I'm singing
Yeah.
about.
Oh, I understand more than you know, man. Trust me,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get it.
yeah.
Uh, do you think artists ever really grow out of their early work, or do they just learn how to speak to it differently?
It's funny because I've been writing some new stuff
Mhm.
lately, and I tend to go back to some of that older style of stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to make, because we've always had a sound that's not like anyone else. We
Right.
always been a little bit different than everybody,
Mhm.
um, and I try to keep that sound involved in our music because today's day in music, everyone sounds the same. You can turn
Yeah.
on a song and it's like, wow, that was the same kind of hook, the same kind of verse. And that's the one thing that's always stood out, is that we've always been different. And if you listen to the catalog of our music, every song is different from the next. Um, and I think that's great because
Yeah.
um, that just shows of the multiple, the different places that we've been in our life
Mhm.
and different time periods. Each song was wrote at a different time,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of punk in there. Like where we come from, it's a thrash metal community. It's nothing
Mhm.
but thrash. And then there's a couple songs that have some of that thrash beat in there.
Mhm.
I mean, even Bury Your Halo has a little bit of it in there.
Yeah.
And I always drag that back in somehow.
Well, that was the reason I kind of chuckled. Is it wasn't malicious or derogatory in the slightest. Like I said, preparing for tonight, I've been jamming all weekend to your guys on Spotify,
Awesome.
and then I jumped in the truck today on the way home, leaving the day job, and some song that I've never heard before. I'm like, who the hell is this? Because I've been listening to you guys, and it was something I hadn't heard yet, and I'm like, oh, cool. So I just rewinded so I could hit it from the back, get it from the beginning, So I'm like, all right, this is cool. So
Yeah.
and it does. You're right. I mean, it's you guys. I can definitely tell you, you're not literally confining yourself to one genre or one sound. You guys are all over the map, dude. You're literally
Yeah,
all over the
I
map, man.
think, and it's crazy because we've toured with a lot of different acts.
Mhm.
We played with Avatar one night, and then the next night we're playing with Head PE.
Yeah.
So that our music is really crazy because it goes through a lot of different people. We could be on a little bunch of different bills.
Mhm.
We played with like Tech Nine type music,
Mhm.
rap type influence, and people just loved it. Like we're like
Yeah.
the only metal band there, but we're in a group of rappers in a sense, and they're like, man, you guys are fucking rad. So, and I,
I
I always keep that open.
yeah. I just photographed Avatar a couple weeks ago, man.
Oh man, yeah, that was crazy. That's been a few years since we played with them, but that they're a great band.
They are very fun. They're fun to photograph too. Um, if you could remove one misconception people have about heavy metal music, what would you erase first?
I would think violence, I guess.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't think metal music, rock music is all
Hmm.
about violence, and I think that's the one thing I would take out of it. I mean,
Hmm.
I know music now is maybe not geared to that as much, but I'm an old school guy, Pantera, and
Hmm.
early Marilyn Manson, and that guy was getting hung up on the razors, man, just because of who he was and the things he's done. And I think violence would be the main thing about it, because
Yeah.
a lot of it, guys like me, we're not singing about violence, we're singing about our kids.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Here's a serious one for you. In all of the depictions of Tarzan, why does he never have a beard? Dude has no access to razors, man.
Well, the good thing about that is I'm part Native, and I think he's Native American because a lot of Native guys can't grow beards, but they can grow really, really long hair.
I never knew that. That
Yep.
that that's very interesting.
So I'm Mexican Italian. That's why I'm able to have a beard. So, but I do have a mohawk. So
There you go. Compromise, man.
yeah,
Compromise.
it's compromise.
Uh, All right. Uh, what's something outside of music that shapes your songwriting more than people would guess?
um, it's really crazy to say this.
Hmm.
It's women on social media. So I'm a very observant person, right?
Uh,
I observe a lot of things, and a lot of times I sit back and just watch people. And the one thing that I notice a lot is women on social media
mhm.
bashing men. Oh, this guy was in my DMs. He's trying to hit me up and blah, blah, blah. But then at the same time, they turn around and they're like, well, no one wants to hook up with me or be with me. Well, like me personally, as a man, I don't want to interact with you because all I see you do is bash on men all day long, you know? So women are a huge factor on social media because their tendencies are very malicious, sometimes very manipulative. And those are all part of things that, I write about.
Yeah, understood. Okay. Uh, let's see here. If Goat Silk ever did a cover song, what that would completely confuse your audience, what would you pick and why?
Yeah, this is crazy. um, I am so anti cover band, anti tribute band,
Okay.
anti. I despise any of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Um, but with the twist is we have put out a couple little teasers
Hmm.
of a cover song. I mean, I wouldn't say I would call it a cover song. I guess it would be called a reimagination of
There
the
you go.
song because it's nowhere near the song. But hopefully, the early beginnings of January, February next
Mhm.
year, it will be out. But
Cool.
we actually took on U2's "With or Without You," and it's a pretty rad track, and that's going to be hopefully coming out maybe February.
Very cool. I'll be definitely be watching for that, man. Um, all right. What's a sound that you love that you've never been able to justify putting into a Goat Silk track yet?
Mm, I'm into like a lot of death metal, Mayhem, Cannibal Corpse, and really
Sure.
hard metal stuff. But um, those type of things I don't necessarily put into our music because we're more of a
Mhm.
hard rock, alternative metal type of band.
Sure.
But I would love just to slay some like Killer Doom type sludge, riffs in there at one point.
That would be awesome, man. That would be awesome. Uh, all right. Okay, what do I got here next? I'm losing track where I'm at. All right. So if you put a hot dog in a bun, why is that not considered a sandwich?
That's a very strange thing because I mean, why isn't like it's a hamburger at the same time, right? I mean,
Just a long one.
it's a
Somebody
long
stretched it. Yeah, there you
hamburger.
go.
Question, I don't know.
All right. Right now, what feels more important to you, being understood or being heard?
um, you know, that's a loaded question to be
Mhm.
honest,
Yeah.
because I think every musician wants to be heard,
Hmm.
but I don't necessarily care who
Yeah.
hears, you're going to hear it eventually. We're in your face all over the place,
Yeah.
press and stuff like that. You're eventually going to hear us.
Hmm.
I want people to understand the message, I think, more of about what we're trying to accomplish more
Very
than
cool.
to hear us. I mean, I guess hearing us is maybe trying to understand us a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'd rather be understood than heard.
Yeah. And that's kind of like that's one of those quality over quantity kind of thing.
Correct.
And I mean, no offense to anybody out there, but I'm not a huge fan of a lot of today's music, man. I'm just
Yeah.
not. I love going to shows. I love being able to cover shows. And like you were talking about those guys in their 60s, I shot Sacred Reich with Dark Funeral.
Awesome.
And my God, these guys just slap, man. I mean, like I left her like, what the hell did I just witness?
Yeah.
It was, and then the funny thing is, like the week before, I photographed Lorna Shore with Peeling Flesh and Black Dahlia Murder, and those 60-year-old dudes were just killing it harder than
They
Lorna
probably
Shore.
outshadowed those guys. I
Oh
mean, they
yeah,
just ripped it, and that was a huge thing for me because my daughter was like, Dad, they're still doing it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing that I think maybe with me with metal music or just the
Hmm.
rock in general with it
Hmm.
is that you could be at any age
Hmm.
and still rock out.
Yeah.
I mean, pop music, rap music. If you're not in your early 20s, you're
Hmm.
gone. You're done. This. I mean, what was that guy? Pentagram. We have all watched Pentagram.
Oh God, yeah.
All of us watched his documentary, and
Hmm.
he finally made it. And he
Yeah.
was in his nearly 70s, and he's
Yeah.
rocking. I mean, that's what I love about it. And he did probably outshine a lot of those bands that he was playing with.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very awesome, man. I why isn't in your opinion, why do you think that there's no such thing as mouse flavored cat food?
That is weird. I've had dogs and cats throughout my life, and I've always thought this is a really weird question that you thought different kind of product, but I was like, why don't they make like flavored water, like a salmon flavored water, for cats, or
Mhm.
chicken beef flavored dog water? I just don't understand, and I don't know, maybe dogs don't. They say that dogs don't have a sense of taste, but those guys will go out there eat they'll go eat trash out of the can
Mhm.
and then go eat your salmon if you have it. So maybe there's not a flavor to them. I don't know.
I don't know, but my I will tell you right now, my dog, he is very finicky, and if he will tell you out of his treats, if he doesn't like the one you're handing him, he'll snub you and he'll walk away until you give him what he wants, and he'll go back another time. He'll take the other treat, and he's happy about that one. So don't
Yeah,
tell me they can't taste, man. I don't believe in that.
so I got like my dog, Patches. She had passed away. She was a boxer. I had her for 13 years.
Hmm.
We had just recently got a new dog from the shelter, and
Hmm.
we have named him Alberto. I went from a boxer to a Shibu Inu pug, and this guy, I tell you, he's like a grumpy old man that walks around. We gave him the nickname Trash Dog because I don't know. We got him from the shelter. He was like
Hmm.
$50. I think he was on his deathbed. They were gonna kill him if we didn't buy him, type of thing, right?
Wow.
We brought him home, and he was skinny. Now he's a little chunky, little fat guy. He's been here for a year. Um, but I swear he's like a hobo. Like the things that I find in his kennel, I'm like, where did you even get that? So like, so my experience now, because my Patches, she was the same way. She was like, nah, I don't like that dog
Hmm.
or that dog food. I have to have this dog. This
Yeah.
dog, he's like, man, I'll eat, fried rice out of the canister back there. I don't care.
So with you guys, I'd imagine with today's technology and you guys living so far apart and everything, that makes I can see it being a challenge for creativity and stuff, and getting and coming together to make new music and everything. But at the same time, with technology, I'd like to think that it kind of minimizes the stress of it. I would think.
Well, yeah, I think so too. Because when we first started this
Mhm.
band, me and Bundy sat in, our studio hours
Mhm.
and hours and hours upon a day, and then our drummer would come in and just, put on top of things or whatever.
Sure.
Now, with technology, I could come up with an entire song
Mhm.
almost, even write bass lines, and I'll send that over to Bundy, and within a week he'll be like, "Hey, I kind of liked your bass line, but I kind of changed it to this a little bit and for his own flair." And same with with Marcus. He's new in the band now, and he's in
Mhm.
Florida. He's been learning all the new songs that we've been coming out with, but
Mhm.
moving forward, he's just like, I send him the ideas, and he goes,
Mhm.
okay, I kind of get your groove, and then he puts his part to it, and then they send that stuff back to me, and that's how we create our music. So I think to me personally, it's been a huge help.
Oh, that's very awesome, man. Yeah, especially like you're talking about the uh, the distance learning for your daughter and whatnot.
Yeah.
Uh, during COVID, that COVID killed a lot of bands, man.
Well,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah, it did. It,
Yeah.
it killed a lot of bands, and it's crazy for us to come back out because the hype of us returning is
Mhm.
been overwhelming for us. And it's sometimes hard to grasp.
So you guys have any tours coming up, or are you planning
So
one?
we're in the works planning some tours right now.
Sure.
We've been talking to a couple other bands that we maybe do double duty, with tour, and
Mhm.
we're trying to decide who's the best package to go out with.
Sure.
Uh, but hopefully we decided, with Marcus moving from Florida to Connecticut,
Mhm.
we decided to push off like really touring until like spring of next year, just so
Oh,
he can
of
get
course.
settled in. And
Yeah.
everybody, lives so far away. Rich being in Kentucky and stuff
Mhm.
like that, gives everyone time to kind of get their stuff together. Everyone in the
Mhm.
band's a pro. So
Mhm.
it's like everyone does their learning at home, and then
Mhm.
we practice right before we go on the road, and
Mhm.
and that's it. So
Well, when you guys are hitting the road, man, you got to hit me up if you're coming anywhere near Cleveland or Pittsburgh, man.
well,
So,
the Midwest has always been like our bread and butter out Iowa, Pennsylvania, Chicago. That is
mhm.
where we've always succeeded. And that's
Right.
where we like to tour the most is that just towards your way, Iowa,
Mhm.
Ohio, Cleveland, all those
Mhm.
places are perfect. They just eat us up for some reason out there.
We like music, man. I can't help it.
Yeah.
That's very awesome, dude. I didn't expect this to go this smoothly, So I kind of ran out of questions for you, man. I'm just but yeah. So once you're getting ready to start announcing stuff, man, let me know. Hit me up, and I'll definitely put it up in the magazine and everything, and put it on my socials to get you guys
Awesome,
some
man.
notoriety out here. And so you
Yeah.
mentioned. Sorry, go ahead.
No, good.
You mentioned before you are Native American. I was just wondering, does your heritage ever come into your songwriting at all, or
Um,
does
you
it
know,
influence?
it, the influence that comes in it to me is, I mean, this new era, I haven't really been wearing my mohawk up a lot, but
Mhm.
the previously years, I've always worn my mohawk up, and it's,
Mhm.
that's a sign of, my heritage, and being a warrior
Mhm.
is part of what I've. And if you ever seen some of the makeup that I use and I put on my face, it's all Native American
Mhm.
warrior type makeup, and so
Yeah.
um, I don't really necessarily bring it into the music as too much, but I do try to translate how I look and how I represent in person and stuff to those certain values, I guess.
So that kind of leads me into another question because being from Cleveland area, um, do you see that like the teams that are named after like the Braves, the Cleveland Indians, and stuff like that? Do you see that as exploitation, or do you see it as being what it was as being honoring to the?
To me personally, I've never felt that it was something that was, derogatory.
Mhm.
I thought it was almost kind of honoring some of
Mhm.
the people, like the Redskins, when um, he was a chief, and he stood for stuff, and
Mhm.
I think that was something to be proud of. That was a part of a football team. Obviously, that they took that away, but
Mhm.
um, I think that's taken away of a legacy in a sense. No matter of the history of it, regardless if it was good history or bad history, is
Mhm.
still part of our lives.
Mhm.
I don't think that should have to be put into any kind of sports. I mean, like what was it, the Cleveland Indians? Now that
Mhm.
they're the Guardians, right?
Yeah.
Like, that just super, and then it's just like super cheesy. Then it feels like an old, Nintendo cheese off NBL game, that I used to play when I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
it was never like Cleveland Indians. It was the Guardians, like that's who you played, that seems cheesy to me.
I just, I just kind of fluid, kind of wanted to get your point as someone of that heritage. So I just wanted to get it straight from the source.
Yeah, I just don't think it. I mean, to me
Mhm.
personally, I mean, I have a lot of Native family and stuff like that, and uh, no, I don't think any single one of them took it as a sign as like a mockery. I
Mhm.
think everyone was proud that it was a
Yeah.
part of something so big.
Yeah.
I think it became more of like disheartening when you took it away.
Yeah. That's I'm on point with you on there, dude. I really am. I really am. That's really awesome, man. So do you guys have any new CDs coming out, or are you going to be promoting that when you go on tour?
A new CD.
Do you have a new CD coming out, or do you? Or
Yeah, so all this stuff, like Bury Your Halo and Separate, and even the With or Without You track, that's going to be
Sure.
all part of the new CD. This day and age, I personally feel that it is not very smart to put albums out and to release singles every 2 to 3 months,
Mhm.
because you can't grasp people's attention to listen to 12 songs anymore. If you're not immediately grabbing them with a single, they're
Mhm.
not going to listen to 10 other songs,
Yeah.
Yes, these songs will be part of an album eventually, yes, when
Mhm.
everything is done. But I don't think putting out an album and saying, bam, this is what we're going to do is ever going to happen. To just be honest, I think
Okay.
singles are where it is. I
Mhm.
think if you can capture people with singles and one of the songs resonates with them,
Mhm.
That's better than them going, man, all these songs and that only one off of that album.
It reminds me of back when you had to buy CDs, man, before the digital track, you know.
Yeah, I love it. My daughter's really into like retro stuff, and
Mhm.
part of her Christmas gift this year is, she spent like I think $100 or something like that this year on just CDs. And I just love it because CDs to me, how I feel with music is like the music's always free.
Yeah.
The merchandise, shirts and stuff like that, obviously you have to sell, but I've been the type of guy where I will give you my CD. I will give you my music for free. I don't care about the cost. I'd rather
Mhm.
you have my music in your hands than you not be able to afford it, or just I can't purchase it. I just don't have this or
Mhm.
that. Here, take it. Like even now, here's a download card. I don't
Mhm.
put any prices on our music. Obviously, like Apple, they
Yeah.
put their own prices. But if someone says, "Hey, I don't want to listen to this off of Spotify," I'll send you the MP3 or the WAV file. I'd rather have you have that music in your hands than to not have it at all.
That's very awesome, man. That's very awesome. And anybody that wants to say you went commercial, I mean, if people are happy doing just playing local clubs because for the love of it and it's a hobby to them or whatever, it's a passion for them, great, good for you. But a lot of people aren't very fortunate to be able to chase their passion and make and capitalize on it. And that's
No, and that's the truth. I mean, for
yeah,
us to even be 13 years of a name
yeah,
it's a hard thing to do. Just
yeah.
it's been 7 years almost since we put out, obviously we have some new songs out, but it was seven
Mhm.
years before we had put anything else out. And August is when Bury Your Halo came out,
Mhm.
and it's doing great. Getting a lot of spins on radio, but
Mhm.
that means we did stuff right in the beginning,
Mhm.
not even have anything come out for 7 years. And then that video on, YouTube alone was, 13K views within the first 3-4 days,
Yeah.
um, so relevancy is hard to come by, and
Mhm.
consistency is hard to come by. There's a
Yeah.
lot of bands out there, members who are always consistently in another project, they're in another band. And
Mhm.
I've always felt like if you dedicated yourself to one band or one musical act
Mhm.
and really perfected everything,
Mhm.
that's the band that's going to take you, because every time you were in a new band or start a new project, you're starting from scratch. We built momentum of 13 years
Mhm.
of this, to be able to do interviews and be on podcasts and be in magazines and have
Mhm.
publicists and have all these great things. Is because we've never stopped. Even when we stopped, we were still out there. Goat silk, goat silk, goat silk.
But that's very awesome, man, to have that kind of longevity and still be 13 years deep and still thinking, hey, we still have this, you know. And that's
Yeah.
and I'm really honestly, I'm glad your daughter's doing better, man, and I'm glad she's kind of gave you that nudge you needed to get over the edge, just to kind of
And it
get
was
back up.
because I think, even though the bad scenario that we went through,
Mhm.
with the depression and, the suicidal type of things and stuff like that, battling her own personal demons,
Yeah,
it's what I needed to get back to me as well.
yeah,
And it even made our bond even stronger because
very cool.
she's such a metalhead, she loves music, and um, it was the spark that I needed because I was falling into a position of where like I didn't know what to do anymore. I didn't have music. I'm a general contractor. I got 10 guys who work for me, and this is my life now, and
Mhm.
it was kind of disheartening because I was like, man, I've been doing this since I was 16 years old. I mean, I'll be 46 this year, in August.
Mhm.
So I've been doing this all my life. There's nothing I know better than music.
Yeah,
And I got kind of to a point where it was stagnant, and it was like, man, I sold a lot of my gear and I just didn't do it anymore. And she was the nudge and
yeah,
the heartbreak and all the things that she was going through. And that's what's great. I've always loved about music is because music is, I think, saved her life,
yeah,
and it saved my life again,
yeah.
and here we are talking and doing an interview, and that's awesome because I think it helped everybody.
That's very awesome, and that's going back to your point about like you don't want to tell people what to think about your music.
Yeah.
And L, or he goes by, also goes by Legion of Cultist Black.
Yeah.
When I first interviewed with him, I asked him, I was like, what were you thinking about when you did this? And he says, I will never tell you. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you know. He said, no, 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 no. He says, the thing is, my job is to give someplace a safe space to exert the demons from their day and their work week. And he says, and if you interpret something differently than how I felt about it, who am I to tell you how you feel?
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
It really is.
And
Just because I
yeah.
was writing this song at this time, and
Hmm.
this is what I was feeling. Because I, with Bury Your Halo, I actually got into a friend of mine that's she actually lives in Canada,
Hmm.
um, and she's a very opinionated person. And she was like, "What do you mean coming down from your pedestals and bury your halo and blah blah blah?"
Yeah.
And she really came at me about it, and I was like, "Well, it's not what you think it is." When I say, the judgment throne,
Yeah.
that's meaning the judge, throwing his gavel down and making a final decision on my court orders. But if you take the judgment day as something different, I hope you do, because
I,
maybe there's a different something in you inside yourself that it made you feel that certain way, and maybe those things maybe brought up to you and made you feel a certain
yeah.
way. And I'm glad it did. I'm glad it didn't make you feel the same way I did. I made you mad or sad or angry, because
Well,
that is you to portray that.
and that's the whole point of art, isn't it? Is to incite emotion.
Correct.
It's not it, art isn't going to always make you happy, make you feel happy, sunshine and rainbows. Some art
It's not.
is very
Yep.
disturbing. Sometimes
Yes, it is.
it makes us look inside, and sometimes we don't like what we see inside, and then we lash out at other people and say, "Hey, it's like it's
Yep.
not my fault you interpreted it that way, man."
Well, and that's the truth, because I've never personally had anyone say, "Oh, your music this or that,"
Yeah.
but people, I've seen it to other bands, and people are like, "Oh, why are you singing about that?" And it's the truth is, maybe you don't know what I was thinking about at that time, or why I wrote this. Maybe I wrote it for my daughter and her
Mhm.
struggles.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not about me at all. Maybe it was about the person, the bum down the road that I
Yeah.
seen struggling.
Mhm.
So to judge those in the lyrics, I try to, with my lyrics, like, separate. It's really crazy. It's a poem. I That
Mhm.
was an actual poem that I wrote. That's why there's really not a verse, a hook, a pre-chorus, and it kind of, comes back to the same thing, is
Mhm.
because it is poetry. And I think a lot of my music is written that way, is I have an idea of poetry, and I'm not a poet at all. But that's what I kind of write. I write these, little haikus or whatever type of things that we learned in school. And I don't think a song needs to have a billion words. I
No.
mean, so between like Bury Your Halo, it's very sophisticated in
Mhm.
in the lyrics, and
Mhm.
then Separated is very drawn down to how the
Mhm.
lyrics are, and it's
Yeah.
about a feeling that I had at that time.
And that's why I said, there's been CDs and tapes I bought over the years, especially when I was younger. Every song sounds pretty similar, and or
Yeah,
you hear somebody in a car next to you playing something. Oh, hey, that's such and such. You guys, I can't do that with, man. You guys are literally like the map is here, and you're way off the map, man. I mean,
yeah. I think that's what always succeeded for us, is
yeah.
because, like I was saying earlier, we like Flaw. We've done a lot of stuff with Flaw in the
Hmm.
past, and Chris Valls. He's always been one of my favorite vocalists,
Hmm.
and be able to tour with him and play shows with him on the road has been awesome. But we could go from playing to like a new metal band,
Hmm.
playing, like I said, with of a band like Avatar, who is totally different than us.
Yeah.
And then the next night go and play with Head PE, who's totally not our genre, but that crowd seems to love us. And I think
Hmm.
you know I think a lot of bands, what they're missing is to be themselves and to
Yeah.
write what they need to write. And
Hmm.
I've never tried to put like, oh, we have to write this hard rock tune because we're a hard rock band.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of bands classify, oh, we're degent, or we're metal, we're death metal. You know what? If we come out there and we blow your mind off with a death metal song, and then we come and sing "Suffer in the Rain" right after it, that's that's just us being us
Yeah.
and true to who we are and the style of music that we write.
Hmm.
And I think that's why we've stood out a lot of these years,
Yeah.
is because we're not like anybody else. And it's hard to be in a category where you're not in a category. I consider us like an alternative metal band.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't know where we fit.
Well, and that's the thing is, I blame social media mostly, but specifically MySpace especially,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
with the genres. I mean, growing up, there wasn't metal, there wasn't death metal, black metal, and
Correct.
this metal, that metal, that it was metal, it was heavy metal, it was rock, it was classic rock. You had classification, sure, but MySpace took it and just mutated the hell out of that. And I mean, genres are popping up now. It's like you what is
To me,
no.
it's like, and maybe because I'm, we're similar age,
Mhm,
I've always been kind of I've like, Filter's one of my favorite bands,
mhm,
Fuel,
mhm,
I like those bands. I've always been fans of singers, but I've also liked, Diecast, 36 Crazy Fist,
mhm,
and I've always been, I guess, a new metal guy. I've
mhm,
never really been a Metallica fan. I never really was into Pantera that great.
mhm,
I liked people who can sing and had
mhm.
emotion to that. But at the same time, I turn around and like Mayhem.
Yeah,
And so I try to influence all those things that are influenced my life into our music.
yeah,
Because
very awesome.
all of that's a part of us.
Mhm,
Um, Bundy, he's really into like Nikki Six,
mhm.
what is that, Wednesday 13, those type of gothic-y type of bands, and that's
Mhm.
just him. I mean, that's just part of it.
That's very awesome, man. Very awesome. So yeah, so keep me, like I said, man, definitely keep me posted when you get some tour information, man. I will start posting what I can, promote you guys, and we can, if you want, because we're talking probably 3 or 4 more months before you guys are going to be really planning to hit the road. We can do
Correct.
another interview, and we can do another one with promotions and get some show stuff going in for you guys, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely, dude. And then I'll get this posted and I'll share with you guys and everything. And I can't wait to see you guys in person, man. I'm not a hugger, but I'm gonna give you that. Definitely giving you a bro hug when I meet you, man. So
I say the same thing, but
that's awesome. And please, by all means, man, give your daughter a hug and high five for me, man. And
yeah, really,
if
like
you
I
have
said,
anything else,
this
go
is
ahead.
all for her.
That's very awesome, dude. And just keep and just that's just I can't even say it how awesome that is, man. Just keep it that way, man.
Yeah,
And I'm just very. It's just weird how certain things happen at certain times. Like I
yeah,
told my wife, there were several times in our lives where we should have met, but we never did. And
yeah,
I told her, I say, sometimes you can meet the most perfect person, but the most wrong time. Sometimes your life puts you in a pause because it's just not ready for that, what you need to do yet. That's just my opinion, man.
yeah, and I agree. I really honestly think like the time that we kind of took away from the band
Mhm.
was very much needed because
Yeah.
Bundy had some stuff going on with him where he had left the band for a few years. I
Mhm.
mean, he's back in the band now and touring, and I think we needed that time away from each other. And it's now he's, like I said, he started at 15 in this band and now he's a
Right.
grown man. So he had time to experience life and be in other bands and tour and do all these great things and learn things on his own. And that makes a very strong force to be with because he's
Yeah.
learned, not just for me, but his past, everything that he's done up today. And to bring that together with the members I have,
Mhm.
Rich was with Flaw and he was an Eve to Adam,
Mhm.
um, Marcus was with I met Marcus in Romantic Rebel, and
Wow.
he was touring and drumming with that band,
Mhm.
and then he went on to be in Cobra and the Lotus. So um, the players that we have in this band
Mhm.
are some of the best people that I've always wished this band would have had, and
Yeah.
now we have them, and it's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and we're going to take some names for sure.
That is very awesome, man. And one little tidbit for me, I cannot sing. I can't play instruments. I can't carry a tune in a bucket, man. But I've sang one song to my son before he passed away, and it was by Flaw. It was "The Best I Am." That's the only song
Yep,
I've ever sang to anybody. And
yep,
when I met Flaw the one time I photographed them, I forget. I think it's Chris. He's a
Chris.
vocalist,
Yep,
right? Yeah.
yep, Chris.
Terrible with names, man. Terrible with names. But when I told him about it, when I met him after the show and stuff, and I told him about that, dude, his eyes watered up, and he just grabbed me and hugged me. And music heals,
Yeah,
and
it does.
and like I keep saying about your daughter, man. I'm so grateful that she's found this and she's encouraged you. Music heals, dude. It does so much for everybody, and that's why I love music so much.
Yeah,
So
well, then you come out of a different aspect. You come out of it of a different part of art, which is it's great, because you could tell a story by a photograph, and I don't think a lot of people understand that imagery is so important, not just in bands, but just in general. You know, that day, that time, or the way that you looked when you took a picture of that musician, he could have been having the worst day of his life, and you would never know it sometimes, but you could see it in his face, and imagery is very important.
Yeah. And but yeah, and like I said, I'm not trying to bag on the rest of you guys' music, but man, Barrier Halo, dude, it just, I don't know what it is about that one in particular. It just slaps me in the feels, man. I
Well,
love that one.
and it, I take that like, it's hard to, I don't even know the words. I can't even come with words. Is the older music is when we were figuring things out.
Yeah.
We were playing around a lot of sounds and just coming up with things. And this new era of this music is more. It shows all our growth. I mean, myself, I grew in musically. Bundy's grew. I mean, Rich and all those guys, they've been playing for years along. And this new genre of our guests, or new sound, you want to call it, with us is sophisticated. It's the best Goat Silk you'll ever get. I mean,
Yeah.
and we're gonna come out with, we got some bangers, man. And there's a lot of good songs that I have that are being in the works of being recorded. That is gonna set us apart. So
Very cool. I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am. And my thing, I don't do selfies with bands. I buy the CDs. Seriously, I buy CDs and I have the band sign the CDs. That's I like the physical media. Again, I'm old school, man. So and so like I said, I can't wait to meet you guys out here. I can't wait to get you guys out here. And when you, I can talk. I promise I know words. When you guys are getting ready to tour again, we'll do another interview, man, to get you guys promoted and stuff and get you out here.
Yeah, that'd be great. Maybe we can get the other guys to jump in as well.
Yeah,
And
please.
and give them their aspect of stuff as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. I mean, even though you guys are distant, Zoom, we can have everybody chime in. Absolutely, dude.
We've done a few of that before. Had the guys in other towns and zoomed out, so it works.
Very awesome. Very cool, man. I'm gonna let you off of here. I'm gonna grab me some dinner. So nice meeting you tonight, Joe.
Probably late. It's like, what is it, 6 o'clock my time now? Or yeah, so
7. It's about 9 o'clock mine.
Yeah, it's about 9. Yeah, it's 8:55. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, great, man. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and
yeah,
hope we cross paths again, and we could do this again for sure.
Absolutely, Joe. Thank you, man. You have a good night, dude.
You have a good night as well.
All right, bye.